So Lamont's question is, what is the best way to ensure that you do not owe? Is it how you file, like single, head of household, or no dependents? Like, what's your thoughts there?
So one thing I want to say, and just because he threw up the single or head of
Mm-hmm.
household. So, for IRS purposes, you are not a head of household if you do not have a qualifying dependent. So
Mm.
some people might think when they filling out their W-4 form, which I never thought about this until we just said it now. When they're filling out their W-4 form, they might actually think they're head of the household because they pay their own bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not head of household, you're single.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of people probably is doing it now that I think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not head of your household. You're single because you don't have any dependents.
Dependents that
And
you're
right.
claiming.
And if you select head of household instead of single, then they're gonna withhold your withholding based off the head of household balance status versus the single
Single.
balance status. And for every balance status, there's a standard deduction amount attached to it. And the head of household standard deduction amount is way higher than the single person. So, and when you're doing head of household, you got to also think about the fact that they're putting into perspective that you have a dependent because,
You gotta
right?
claim it, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. So then they still might not be withholding enough taxes. So for a single person, you should just be single.
That's it.
Period. I don't suggest like single people like you put absolutely nothing. Now the old W-4 form as a single person, you was able to put zero or one. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
you do zero or one, you still was kind of safe, right? But in most cases, single people might have put one or two and they really zero, because you don't have any independence. And then the other problem with that is, as a single person, Lamont, do you have another source of income, right? Because I'll use this as an example because I don't see so much this has either. My older people who get Social Security, right? In their minds, they think their Social Security is not taxable because that's one of the myths that goes around here. Your Social Security is not taxable. But if you make a certain amount of income, then your Social Security is taxable. And so a lot of older people have retirement income.
Mm.
And the retirement income might be over the amount that you're required to stay under for your Social Security not to get taxed. So, do you have how many sources of income do you
Do you
have,
have?
and what kind of did you indicate that, like we said at the beginning of the show, did you indicate that on both of your W-4 forms? Because what I have to tell my older people that are in those situations, unfortunately, I know you don't want your Social Security tax, but you need to go talk to the Social Security Administration and have voluntary federal taxes withheld. Because once you put your retirement income and your Social Security together, you're in another tax
Over
bracket.
the thing. Wow. So you just said a whole lot. So let me recap for those who may just be joining. So, Lamont, to answer your question, you should not be filing head of household if you're